G'day guys, Michael from BeYourBestSelf.fitness here. This video, I want to talk a little bit about some of the smaller muscles that are often overlooked in many people's workout routines. Now, it's so easy to focus on the bigger muscles and particularly the muscles that we can see. But what I find is lacking is a lot of the other smaller muscles that provide a lot of stability and structure and balance to our body. In my opinion, this is where I see a lot of people getting injuries in their workouts and just in everyday life. Those niggles and those things that bother us constantly, I feel is because of a lack of balance in our physique and in our structure. So I want to hone in on three of those important parts that I believe people are missing in their general workout routine. First thing I want to focus on is the rear delt, the back of the shoulder. I think this is a muscle that is probably the most commonly overlooked because I think a lot of people will assume that they're hitting the back of the shoulder when they're doing back exercises, but it really isn't targeted very well in your standard back exercise. When we have our elbows tucked in, then we're really focusing on the lats, we're focusing on all the muscles around the scapula, and which are absolutely important to the stability and structure of our back. However, the rear of the shoulder is one of those muscles that's really going to help with our posture. So often, many of us have that forward shoulder roll, that really poor posture where our shoulders are forward. This muscle at the back of the shoulder becomes inactive, so it's not providing any stability for the shoulder. The muscles through the chest get tight, and what happens from there is that our shoulder then is not sitting in its joint, in its socket properly, it's not moving properly, and then it becomes aggravated and we have some shoulder impingement and shoulder pain that follows. So working on the rear delt, the rear of the shoulder, is really going to improve your posture and hopefully prevent a lot of those shoulder niggles that many of us experience in our life. So it's pretty easy to target the rear of the shoulder. I'm going to show you a couple of exercises where we can do that as well in this video, but the main thing that we're looking for is having a 90-degree angle with our elbows flared out like this. So this is going to target that rear of the shoulder muscle, and there's a few things that we can do to target that with equipment that we have in the gym, but also stuff that we can just do at home. So if you're in the gym and you want to target that, you can go to the cable machine, grab a rope and pulling that in towards your face, into your forehead. We call that a face pull. So that naturally flares those elbows out, really focusing your mind on using the rear of the shoulder to pull that towards your face, and that's really going to focus in on those rear delt muscles. Again, if you're in the gym, you might have a pec deck or a chest fly machine, and hopefully you can reverse that and use that as a shoulder fly. And again, keeping those elbows out in line with the shoulder, creating a nice straight line, you can really hone in on that rear delt as well. Another thing that we can do is just by simply using some dumbbells, and there's a few variations that we can go about in doing that as well. So you could lie on an incline bench, simply turning out the elbows again and doing a rowing motion for the rear delts there. The key here is not to let those elbows slip back down, because then it's just going to go straight back into the lower traps, into the scapular muscles and into the lats as well. So we really want to focus on keeping those elbows out at 90 degrees from the shoulder. That's going to focus in that exercise. Again, if you don't have an incline bench, you can simply just sit on the end of a bench, fold yourself over. You can do this seated or standing and focus in on the rear delt that way as well with some dumbbell reverse flies. So hopefully that gives you some exercises that you can begin to target that rear delt, improve your posture and get your shoulder moving in its socket properly. The next muscle group that I want to target is the lower traps. Now this is definitely something that is overlooked, and even in the majority of my training, it's not something I ever considered until recently. But what happens is so many of our exercises that we do in the gym are upper trap focused, so up here. But our traps actually go down, all the way down into our mid back, like a big triangle type shape. So a lot of exercise that we do, if we're doing deadlifts, very heavy trap focus. Even if we're doing bicep curls, we tend to be focusing in on keeping that trap contracted at the top here. And the bottom of the trap, the lower trap, becomes inactive. But the lower trap plays a big role in also stabilizing that shoulder joint, helping to improve that posture, helping the scapula to move well and be supported back there. So we want to focus in on strengthening and activating that lower portion of your trapezius. So here's a very simple thing that you can do. We call it the low trap raise. As you can see here, just simply lying down on an incline bench. Again, you can do this standing, but the bench does provide a little bit more support for you for this exercise, and we're using very, very lightweight. You may even start by just using your hands alone. We're going to bring those hands up in a Y-like fashion, and I like to hold it out there for about 3 to 5 seconds to really make those muscles work, create that stability in our upper back, and then we go through and repeat the reps as necessary. So again, 3 sets, 6 to 10 reps, 6 to 12 reps, somewhere around there. Increasing the rest times, increasing the weight, increasing the reps are all things that you can do to continue to progress that lower trap strength. One of the things that I like to focus on is at the bottom of the movement, I like to relax my back, even curl my shoulders forward, and then go through that process of pulling the shoulder blades back, really securing everything in there, engaging those lower traps before I bring my arms up in that Y-like fashion. So really focusing in on engaging those muscles that we're wanting to work and making them work as hard as they possibly can. So a really important one, in my opinion, for reducing some of that tension in our upper traps and helping to balance out that activation and that tension in our traps that we feel by targeting the lower trap there. The final one is the glute, and this isn't just for the ladies, guys. We need to make sure that our glutes are activated, they're firing correctly, and they're supporting us, particularly in our big movements. If you're a big fan of the deadlift, you know, we're strengthening a lower back, we're strengthening our hamstrings, but the glutes play a really important role in performing the deadlift well and protecting our lower back as well. The glutes are a very, very big muscle, and they're there to provide support. What happens a lot of the time is that if we're not utilizing them properly in the movement, then they're becoming inactive and not working as they should be to assist us in that lift. Another area that they play a big role in is the squat. The glutes aren't just the gluteus maximus that sit at the back of our butt. We have the glute min and glute med that also sit around the hips and the pelvis as well, and they're going to help provide stability for the pelvis. So we want to make sure that those stabilizing muscles are active, they're firing, and they're doing their job as well. So one of the things that we can do for that is to perform some squats with a band, a resistance band around our legs. That's going to force us to keep our knees out, which is a good position for the squat, and it's going to make sure that those muscles are firing and active. This is something that you can do as an exercise in itself, or it's also something that you can incorporate into your warm-ups for the squat and also the deadlift as well. Another thing that we can do is doing some single leg glute bridges. This is a really good way to make sure that your glutes are activated and they're firing. Now, this is something that physios will often give people to rehabilitate when their glutes aren't working properly. So why not incorporate that into your weekly routine so that you're not having to rehabilitate, but you're prehabilitating yourself. You're preventing yourself from injury and making sure that you're getting the most out of every workout that you're doing. So I'll show you here a single leg glute bridge. Again, guys, this is something that you should be doing. Do it in a deadlift warm-up, do it in a squat warm-up, or do it at home where you don't want anybody to see you doing some booty exercises. Whatever you need to do, make sure you're doing it. This is one where we're going to position ourselves in that glute bridge position on the ground. We're going to put one leg out straight. This is really going to work the core as well. And then we're going to push up and getting those hips up as high as we possibly can. We want to try and create a very, very flat body in this one as well. So we're not sinking our hips down, we're getting them as high as we possibly can. We're squeezing the glutes as much as we can and holding that position again for even up to 10 seconds so that we're making those muscles work and do their job. Incorporate these exercises into your weekly routine to make sure that you are setting yourself up for the best possible workout, and you are preventing yourself from future injuries as well. We're improving our posture, we're strengthening the muscles that are going to help us maintain that posture in and out of the gym. It's a win-win, guys, so incorporate these into your workout routine. If you want to see more, especially on really detailed technical instructions for some of your major lifts like your deadlift and squat, then check out my website, beyourbestself.fitness. Otherwise, subscribe to the channel and you will see more videos coming your way. Again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.